Hello, hello, hello. Woo. Pamela, I had to run upstairs and put another shirt on. It's kind of chilly up here. Hey, my name's Kurt and I'm a dad who draws, and this is our Monday edition of Drawing Live. I almost said the daily draw of Drawing Live. We get together every Monday afternoon at 2 p.m. to draw usually a landscape or something outside. And if you're interested in voting on that, please join our Facebook group, because I post a picture on Monday morning and everyone gets to vote on which picture they would like to draw. And that's a lot of fun. And if you're interested, I believe there is a link down in the description of the YouTube video, and join our group. We are fun and have a good time with each other, right? Kevin just said greetings. Hello, Kevin. And there's Pamela and Doris and Sharon. Thank you so much, you guys, for commenting. We are live, so if you do have a question on something I say or do, or if I go too fast, please slow down. What I'm going to show you today is common mistakes I think you might make when drawing a perspective drawing. So let's get into the video, okay? First thing I need to do is turn on my screen so you can see it. All right. And there she goes. Okay. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Okay, let's get started here. So let's jump right into it. I think the first mistake, or one of the most common mistakes you make when drawing anything in perspective, is composition. We immediately forget to think of the composition of our photo. So, for example, let me just bring this up here. So, for example, if you're going to draw a picture, and you might immediately put the horizon line dead center. See that right there is poor composition. It's, if you don't think of it, that's where if you don't give it some consideration, that's what you're going to do with it. Next thing is you're going to put a dot, your first vanishing point, dead center in the picture. Again, if you're not conscious of what you're doing, you're going to start making these mistakes when it comes to composition. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about really quickly the rule of thirds. And if you follow this, it really makes a huge difference in what you draw. Okay, so here's my picture once again. And the rule of thirds simply will break a picture down into thirds, just like that, you see? Or your thirds can be up here. So this is basically how you want to bring about a lot of interest to your drawings if you start thinking of composition from that standpoint. So look at this now. Look at our picture right over here. All right, I'm going to draw right on top of it. Look at that, right along. And let me bring that up there. There it is. Look, this photographer, whoever this was thinking really of the rule of thirds. You see that? You see how all these buildings line up, are all on the 2/3 side, where this whole area is on the 1/3 side. See that is that's very appealing. So the first mistake I don't want you to make is I don't want you to forget about composition. So think of composition, okay, before we do it. All right, that's number one. The next one that I want to review with you, and what happened to I was making some notes here. Oh, next one I want to talk about is thinking of the big picture, okay? So when we go to draw this picture, what we're going to do is like think of not the details, but think of the big picture first. For example, we might say, okay, look at this. There's this line here that's going in perspective, right? And then we've got this up here. You see, we have this angle right there. And so from here, then we can start to break this bigger Look, we can start breaking this bigger shape down into smaller pieces, and then from there we could get into even smaller details. All right, same thing would happen over here. Maybe we would look at this big piece right there, you see that, and then from here we can start to break that thing down. All right, so next common mistake, I think, is you jump into details too much. We want to go from large to small. All right, and then the last one I want to show you, I think that too much we rely on the line drawing to really say perspective, and we forget that there's another very powerful tool, and that's value. So let me show you this idea here. Let's just say this is our picture here, and there's this concept called atmospheric perspective, and we actually can see it right here in this photo. Okay, so look how dark value. Oh, I'm going to change that. Let's change that color there. Look at the dark value and the contrast we're getting in those deep greens and those light greens where the light is hitting. See that deep contrast, the dark darks, they're forward. They're coming way forward to us. Where if we look at the distance here, look at that. Look at those colors of the mountains in the distance. They're not nearly as much contrast to the ones that are closest to us. That's number one. And number two, you'll notice they have a lot more white, or in this case, there's not only white, but there's a blue haze. Well, that's called atmospheric perspective. Something that is much further in the distance is going to be lighter in value than something that is close to us. Okay, so if I take my little picture here, what I just drew. All right, let's get the right value here, and let's first think about thirds, and we're gonna like do something like this per se. All right, so there might be my horizon line up there, and then just for the sake of conversation, I might have an object right here. It could be anything, and there might be another interesting object right here. Okay, and let's say this object has some strange things going on like this, right? But then in the distance now we have this other object that's like this. This could be maybe a mountain range in the back. So right away, by having those two distinct values, we are creating depth. We are creating perspective because we're using value. All right. Again, look at our picture. Same thing is happening in our picture here. These objects are all in more darker value than what we have going back here. You see that? So that's the third way that we could use perspective, simply by using value. All right, let's get to drawing now. So in this picture, the first thing I want to do is to get some type of framework. And before we start, I do want to encourage you to try and draw a little bit smaller. You know, this size that I'm using right here on my pad is only about maybe 4 inches, 4 by 5 inches. So you're going to want to keep it small. If you do something that's 8.5 by 11 or 8 by 10, that's going to be hard to keep up. So it's better in these 1 hour classes to keep it small for yourself, okay? So let's go ahead and draw a border of some sort. Now let's take the big picture approach and just kind of map out some general shapes, all right? General shapes that we're looking at. So if I'm looking, I'm going to start in the top right, and I'm looking at that open sky. So if I just very lightly put a little square there, that's going to represent that sky there, you see? And then I'm gonna put that street in the background there. That's gonna be like my main basis. He's just gonna come back here like this, you see? I've got this, I'm thinking of mountains way in the background here, so I just, that's where it kind of comes in contact with the water there, right? Maybe something like that. Oh, Doris, you gotta go. Okay. We will talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Let's go ahead and get the, let's see here. I'm going to give me a little color here so I can quickly jump back and forth. Okay, let's think about this line right there. This is going to help us to establish this whole left side. So before I put that line down, what I'm looking for is this proportion versus this over here. So let's see where we're going to be at on that. Okay, I'm going to be right about there, I think. I'm not even worried about the perspective yet. All I'm trying to do is just kind of map things out. Now, look at this big shape here. Look at this big shape coming down, something like, I'm going to come, oops, coming down all the way down here. So let's do this. Let's locate this where it enters at the top, and let's locate where it enters in from the bottom. So I'm going to enter in right about there, and there's the top. And then I'm just going to kind of roughly find this point and this edge. This doesn't have to be perfect. This is just part of my kind of gesture. So I'm just going to kind of come down. Okay, let's go ahead and jump to the right side now. I'm going to erase this here. Let's kind of put this in. Look at this big shape. It's kind of coming here. Right about there. You see that? Again, let's just do this very lightly. Now, one thing that can help me as I'm doing this is look at this shape. Look at this negative shape right there. See that negative shape? Let's put that in. Keep your lines nice and loose. All right. Okay. Let's get some of this, let's just put some other lines in place here that will help us a little bit. All right, let's look at this. Look at this line, right? This is a key line right there, right? This one is key as well. And this one here, you see that? Let's try and guess where those are at. So I'm just kind of looking at my drawing here. And I'm kind of in this direction. Let's jump to the other side here, and there's a rooftop up there. Let's try and put that in maybe, right? And then this is an interesting line too. Look, this is almost, that's almost, the roof there is almost vertical, straight up and down. Let's put that one in as well. Yeah, I think, John, this is our biggest viewing group. It's wonderful. All right, let's jump into, let's start to work on a perspective grid, 2 different perspective grids. Now, the advantage of using a perspective grid is you don't really have to pinpoint where the vanishing point is. You can look at what is in perspective and create a grid, and that will help you to freehand what we're talking about. And really, that's what I'm trying to get you to do, is not use a ruler, but to try and freehand this stuff and just kind of visualize where the stuff will go, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get this perspective grid on the left side first here. So I'm going to, this is going to be the side, this is going to be the side of my building here, all right? And then I'm going to drop another vertical for right about there. That's going to be the front facade, all right? So let's see here. I'm going to come in here, something like this. I'm going to make it nice and tight. And then I'm really looking for this point and that point, all right? Those 2 corner points. So let's see now. If I try and estimate where this is from the edge of the page, I'm going to be somewhere about there. And then the other one is going to come all the way down to about there, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and make a line right now on that. Now if I come down all the way like this point into the edge of the house, it's it's going to be right about there. And so I can do that as well. I'm going to come down. It's going to be right about there. Maybe the other one's going to be right about there. And I can put that in place. All right. Now check this out. Look at that. That's where it connects to that roof right up there. And this is going to be of a slight little bit angle right there as well. So let's put that in. So we're going to come in straight like that, right? And then we're going to come in just like this. Oh, a little bit different angle there. Okay, now we could see through the trees the angle of this house is like this. So let's put a mark at the top of our page that's right about, maybe right about there, right? And then we're going to bring it down just like that. Okay, so now this wooden structure to the left is quite rickety. So let's try and think of it of drawing. Let's think of this. Let's use a negative shape, and this is what I want to look. Look at this negative shape going here, right? You see that negative shape? This thing, it almost looks like a bottom part of Florida. So just come in here really loosely. Something like that, maybe. All right. So now we're starting to kind of get some big shapes in. We could start breaking these shapes down. So look at this. Let's get this angle here of that roof right there, okay? So it's going to start right there maybe. How far back is this? Now, this is interesting. It's only this distance. Look at that. This is what we're looking for. So let's not make that wider than it needs to be. So we're going to maybe just come up right about there per se. All right, get that angle there. Get that angle back there, and then this is just gonna do something like that. All right, look at that drainage pipe underneath. So where is that? That's kind of going here, and it's at this interesting angle. All right. Then check this out now. Look at you've got this bamboo piece that's coming down. You see that? I'll get rid of this, but this is helpful to us. Look at that negative shape. You see that box? That's what we're trying to get. That will tell us the exact distance. So let's see here. Let's come in here. All right, that's what I'm going to go with right there. Keep looking at big shapes here. Look at that, right? Look at that corner. Let's figure out where that corner is. So if I look at this fence here, it's kind of crooked. It's coming in right there. And if the bottom of this pole I just drew right there, that's where the bottom of the other one's going to be. You see that? So let's see here. So I'm looking at maybe right about there. And if it doesn't look, listen, these are we're supposed to be inspired by what we see. So if yours starts to not follow this exactly, then just go with it. I think that's what makes something so interesting. Okay, look at this pylon, or this big piece of concrete right there. Let's just drop in, let's see, we're right about there. Let's just drop in a shape right there, and we're going to be square to the bottom. Now look closely. You have this edge that comes down right there. You see that? Let's put that in as well. All right, next let's get this other big shape. Let's get this fence now fixed up here, right? Look at that. It's just like that. So we're gonna come in. Now I'm just going to make some slight adjustments to my drawing. Look at these boards now. This board is like this, that board's like that. We could put that in as well. So let's see here now. This is going to come in like this. Here's this corrugated metal. Look at this back here. We're going to cover most of this with trees, but you can see there's this corrugated metal there. So let's at least put a square in, and you could just draw like surface lines to indicate some like type of texture back there. I'm going to also add some lines for this fence there, and coming back as well. All right, let's leave that side as is right now, and then jump over to the right, okay? So here's kind of the square of where I see my ocean lies, all right? And let's try and think of this. Look at that. That's like that edge of the building, and look at that edge right there. You see that? Let's put two verticals in for that. So there's one. And there's another. Keep them thin. Okay, here's another big one. Look at that one right there. Let's get that one in. And then you see this, look at this overhang is coming in right about there. So we could drop that in. Just, it's a weird shape. Just kind of come in here like a triangle, like an edge of a triangle. Just getting all the pieces together. All right, let's draw a perspective grid on this side here. So there is the top of that house, and here is the bottom of that house. So let's put that in place. All right, that's like we're gonna go with something like this, and then I'm going to do something like this. Right, there's the top, there's the bottom. Let's kind of estimate where the halfway point is. And then if we were to extend this to the edge of our page, there would be the top there, and then here is the bottom. Find the halfway point, and you could just guesstimate this. Probably a little bit lower than that. Maybe you're there. So that's a good halfway point. Draw it lightly. I'm kind of drawing mine a little too dark, but halfway point. Halfway point. So as I'm looking carefully at this picture, you know, this house, and this house are all parallel to each other going back to the vanishing point. It's the next one that gets a little bit angled, and then they get angled more. So let's use this. Perspective grid going all the way to that initial corner. All right, so let's draw the first house that's closest to us, and then we'll start to draw the ones behind it. All right, so we're going to start with this guy, this guy right here. So I'm going to erase everything. Erase everything over there so you can see the picture clearly. All right, so this doesn't have to be perfect. You can improvise however you want, but I'm going to maybe start with this kind of doorway right there. You see that? And then right above it, we're going to have this looks like this window or balcony. All right, look at that. Look at that interesting overhang right there. So just kind of following my perspective grid. All right. Look at this. Let's see. What should we do next here? Look at this one. Look at this little building right there. It's kind of like this with this slanted roof. You see that? Let's put that in. So here's the edge. There's that building right there. Okay, this is going back in perspective right there. And then I've got this nice little slant. Far too complicated. Watching on an iPhone. Too small to get the details. Oh, all right, Tamara. I'm sorry. Okay, let's keep moving on. Let's move up here to the top. Look at this. You got this roof up here. You see that? So let's just piece that in. That's gonna come out about that far right there. Okay, now check this out. Look at the bottom of that roof. the bottom of that roof is right there, but this is important. Now this, look at that. That's a little bit lower because of perspective. So let's drop that down just a bit and do that sort of thing. Almost done with the hardest part. I think getting these lines in is the hardest. All these things help guide us. And then we can get a little bit more footloose, right? All right, look at this. Look at this guy right here. He's sticking out just like that. You see that? Let's put him in. And then he drops down just a bit more like that as well. Okay, let's get the front in there and just kind of finish it off there. Okay, let's jump back to the other side here. And let's start with the very forefront here and work our way back just a bit. So we have this interesting piece of concrete here, and look at this. If I just go back like this and add some value here, that's going to be the side. You see that? And then I could kind of just visualize these rocks here, you see? And I'm just going to slowly work my way with them, making sure the bottoms are going back in perspective. Just keep overlapping them. Now look at this. This is interesting. Let's use like this interesting shape. You see that? For all that stuff that's going on back there. So we'll just kind of come in here like this. And then I'm just going to use some shapes, negative values, negative shapes here, just to indicate a unique amount of junk that might be just sitting right there, right? Now I'm going to drop in just a value above the fence. I'm going to come in and darken that up in just a bit. also above. Okay, now I'm just going to go back into it and just add some interesting shapes. Okay. This has a value. Look at this value change. We want to make sure this has a darker value so that roof right there will pick up the light. I'm not really following the picture per se right now. I'm just dropping in some interesting negative shapes. Okay, these wood slats are coming in at a slight different angle here, right? Oh, hi. Hi, Sandy. Yes, they're all recorded. So you could just come right back here to the channel. And hey, by the way, as long as you're on it, as long as you mention, just yeah, do subscribe, hit the bell, and we go live. I go live every Monday at 2 p.m. And if you can't see it live, it's forever in the YouTube universe. So you could watch it at nighttime if you like. Okay, let's look at the and you should, if one more thing, as long as I was thinking of it, Sandy, you could join our Facebook group. We have a very active community there. Okay, let's get this window up here on the side of the house, and that's pretty straightforward, right? And then I'm just going to add in some value here. This doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to get some variation in that. All right. Tone underneath here. All right, let's add just some of these shapes. I'm only looking at shapes. I'm not really worried about the perspective per se. I'm just start to visualize, okay, we got a little roof thing going here. And I even have this negative shape. So really what I'm looking for right now as I'm sketching, I'm looking for shapes, negative. Here's that little Coca-Cola machine around the corner, and there's some boxes lined up. So this is where I could kind of go a little bit faster because I have all of these larger, back in the very beginning when I spoke of getting the big picture down. Once you have all those big picture items, then it's quickly you can just drop in freehand wise some of these fun little details. Okay, I'm going to squint my eyes now. I'm going to squint my eyes, and here's the outline of that. There's that mountain in the background. Oh, it's beginning drawing, learn to draw with Kurt Asplund. But Sandy, it's down in, there's a link in the description as soon as we're done. Just scroll down to the description, and it's right there. So let's go ahead and add just a light value. Now this is important. Just keep it light because we want to really play up the atmospheric perspective there. I'm looking at my picture here. There's some rocks in the background here. You see this? Okay. We got some docks. So I'm just dropping in some little thingamabobs. Let's see here. I don't know if I can put our Facebook page link. Let me try this while we're. What time is it? All right, we're at 58. So let's see here. Not sure if that will that link will work, Sandy. You'll have to try it. If not, it should be in the description. All right, let's keep going here. Let's work on this tree here now. Okay, so all I want you to do on the tree is let's think of this tree as way as like three values. All right, so what I want you to do is I'm going to start with the top, and I'm just going to randomly I'm looking at the picture a little bit, and I'm just kind of making a containment line. All right, so now with all this, I'm going to just come in here and add a value. Get ready, because we're going to go dark. We're going to go very dark. Look, we're at an hour already. All right, so with that being said now, I'm going to put the afterburners on. So I'm just kind of filling in like shape. That's all I'm really looking at here. Good. Yeah, join up, Sandy. We would love to have you and love to see what you do. So once I have some of my value down, now I can kind of come in with a little bit more detail and start thinking of like, oh, what's happening with these leaves? And then this looks like it's like bamboo. And I think bamboo is probably just a little bit more spiky, right? Don't hate me, everyone, because I'm going fast here. Generally, I try and keep these to an hour in length. Here's a little trick on this rock I want to show you. Now, it's not clear in the picture, but this really is a great way to shade something. We have two tones here. You have the tone that's on the right side in the shadow, and then the tone that's in the light side that's catching the light. Instead of keep darkening it, if you come back in here and darken this edge and then fade a little bit, it kind of creates a reflective shadow, and the reflective shadow is on this side over here, and it just adds a lot of dimension to something. Okay, I'm going to leave some of the other detail in that side there for you to do shortly, but let's do this before we're done today. Let's come in here with look at some of these shadows here. So let's try and get some real sharp edge. You want to be careful of your edges here and make sure that they get nice and sharp when you put them in. And also when I'm drawing them, I'm going back and forth. I'm following the surface of the ground. And then the one thing, you want to make sure that you put all of these buildings generally in some type of shadow or some type of value. Okay. I'm going to add just some little... I'm finishing up here. Sorry we went too long. But my favorite part of this drawing we're gonna do right now, and we have to leave it to the end because that's just the way it goes, are all of these telephone wires. So let's finish it off with these telephone wires. So there's that pylon right there. Now just have fun with it. And I'm just jumping across. There's a lot more detail you can add. I'm going to let you do that on your own. And I will add some more detail on my own as well. But I think that will do it for today. Okay, listen, hey, my name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I think we had the biggest turnout here. So, and Sandy, what a nice surprise that you came in at the end there. Tamara, I'll try and reach out to you, see if I can help you. John and Doris, Kevin, Pamela, and Sharon started off with a happy Monday. All right, you guys. Go out there, make your day great. Thanks for watching. We will see you later. Okay, bye-bye.